As someone who spent the past year and a half alone, Inside was a chore. I can't tell you how many times I paused this because I just needed a second, but I feel like it's important for me to note that I do like Inside and I am a fan of Bo Burnham's work. Anyway, Inside ruined my month and I wanted to quickly analyze Bo Burnham. In most of Bo Burnham's specials, he does this thing where he will present us with a funny song, but then somewhere in the middle of that song, he takes a break from the comedy and the song slows down. This is where he gets real and honest and genuine and all those words. He opens up from the inside and we get to see a glimpse of what he actually thinks. Then he suddenly stops being serious and he goes right back into entertaining us. Perhaps the best example of this would be the ending to his comedy special Make Happy, where he performs a Kanye West style rant called Can't Handle This. For context, Bo Burnham is someone who struggles with anxiety and panic attacks. He would get severe panic attacks when performing on stage or just whenever he was on tour. This is something he briefly mentions in Inside during his song All Eyes on Me. In Can't Handle This, the lyrics "I don't think that I can handle this right now" are alluding towards the fact that he literally couldn't handle performing on stage due to said panic attacks and said anxiety. His use of color during this song is something to make note of, as it comes back in Inside, specifically the color blue. During the end of Can't Handle This, the song slows down as Bo says, "I think it's time that we break it down." Up until this point, he's been on a Pringles can and burrito rant, but takes a moment to talk about his struggle with always having to cater to an audience while also needing to express himself through his craft. During this moment, and for the majority of the song, he's covered in this blue light. I hate to go all English teacher on all of you, but the blue light is a clear representation of his truth and honesty and opening up from the inside and telling us what he's actually thinking. It's a break from the persona. After opening up and venting to us about such things, he sings, "I should probably just shut up and do my job, so here I go." Then the rest of the blue lights go out and he gets lit from behind with this yellow spotlight. The spotlight completely washes him out and all we see is his shadow as he reverts back into his onstage persona of a comedian who jokes about burritos and other stuff that we find relatable. Bo Burnham's entire career was started on YouTube, so he's a product of the internet, and this is something that resonates throughout his material. As we know, social media gives anyone a voice and an audience to share our thoughts and opinions with. In an interview with the Off Camera Show, Bo talked about an interaction he had with audience members who related to him talking about his anxiety on stage, basically saying,
I talked about my anxiety on stage as particular to my circumstance, going, I feel this way about my life because I'm a 23-year-old at the time, comedian with an audience having to perform my life in real time. And a bunch of 14 and 15-year-old girls came up to me afterwards and said, I feel exactly like you. And they weren't 23-year-old comedians. That was a huge realization for me.
He was feeling like his anxiety was very specific to him being a comedian and performing to an audience, but over his career, he came to the realization that his kind of anxiety of needing to please an audience has been, in a sense, distributed to everyone else due to social media. Bo's philosophy is that we're all performers. White Woman's Instagram is the best example of that very thing. In this song, Bo essentially plays a white woman's Instagram account. She's posting all these photos that follow the more contemporary trends on Instagram, and in some cases, he actually manages to look better than most of these Instagrammers in terms of creativity. Anyway, he's replicating some basic routines for a lot of these users on Instagram. However, there's a moment in the song where the woman takes a break from putting on this persona and uses the medium as a way to talk to her mom, venting and channeling these emotions into her post. It's a form of release, to express oneself and feel heard. This moment is a break from the artificial behavior and the fake presentation. In fact, when she's opening up, you can see more of the clutter as the aspect ratio changes to accommodate more of the room, making everything look more real as you see that it's not as aesthetically pleasing. But then it's right back into the photos about goat cheese salads. It's no different from what Bo Burnham does with his career, except the general population doesn't care about what this woman or any of us have to say. The only reason we care about Bo's problems is because he's entertaining us. Hence the lyrics, you can tell them anything. If you make it funny, make it rhyme. But Bo even mentions in Make Happy that if you can live your life not needing to entertain others, then do it. However, I'm going to confidently assume that the majority of us fall victim to these addicting social media apps and care greatly about how many people like or comment on our posts. I mean, I'll admit I'm not above it. This, along with every other negative side effect of using the internet, is something that was explored more in Inside. Due to quarantine, these anxieties and issues with social media worsened as everyone's usage of it went up, as we all spent more time on our phones and computers than the time we spent in the real world. Inside is basically one big take on what it was like being an artist or user or anyone with an internet connection during quarantine. We go back and forth between the happy side we see of someone online and the in-between parts away from their computer that are basically filled with things like crying or having angry outbursts, etc. And then we go right back into putting on this persona when online, and this cycle continues. If you were to ask me, I think All Eyes on Me is the Can't Handle This of Inside, except there's no real comedic relief in this one. In fact, throughout the entirety of this song, Bo is covered in that blue light again, and no other color is used. When comparing All Eyes on Me to Can't Handle This, it goes from if you feel me, put your hands up. Look at all these hands that are way too big to fit inside a Pringle can. To once again, we see a shadow, but this time the camera rapidly goes back and forth between his face and the wall. At this moment, there's really no distinction between the real person and the persona. The two seem to blend together as a clear representation of the dissociation he's experiencing during his time inside, and we experience what it's like to be inside the mind of Bo Burnham. This was his breaking point, and the moment where the comedy was entirely removed from the special. In the end, when watching him trying to get back inside, the projection of the video is color graded blue. At this point, you guys know what the blue means. Showing us his struggles is where the man with the steadily declining mental health finds his fulfillment. And yeah, I guess that's the end of the video.